Welcome to the Gallen Brothers podcast, where we discuss movies, pop culture, and other stuff that we love, and on occasion, stuff we hate. We're the Gallen Brothers. I'm Tim. With me are my bros, Zach and Steven. And today, we are celebrating, well, I don't know if we're celebrating, but we're going to talk about... In honor of the 25th anniversary of the premiere of probably the greatest iteration of the Marvel comic book superheroes, the X-Men. You know, I mean, other than the original comic books, I guess the best iteration, the best TV adaptation, movie adaptation, whatever. I'd say it's better than.
Yeah, easy, sure.
But yeah, X-Men X-Men the animated series premiered in the early 90s. There was a special sneak preview of the pilot on Halloween 1992, and the Night of the Sentinels
was
the pilot.
It's good. It was a good good 2-part episode too. I mean, all things considered, yeah, it was great.
Yeah, I think, and I watched it recently, and I mean, it certainly held. You know, it holds up as far as those kinds of things go. There's certainly some anachronisms or some goofy things as far as like technology and stuff like that. But the show is still pretty
fun. And I'm sure it continues.
I'm
sure Wolverine's blue in a couple episodes where he should be white or yellow or gray, or you know how it is. It's well, it's not as bad as the Ninja Turtles animated series, which was just.
Right, when you'd have Raphael's voice coming out of Leonardo's face.
Oh boy.
But we're not here to talk about the Turtles. Not today, anyway. We're talking about the X-Men. Yeah. It's the theme song that's been in your head for 25 years. But let's go around, and just wanted to... kind of get some initial impressions, or in this case, I guess, initial memories from everybody. Because I do remember the three of us watching this on a regular basis when we were kids. Waking up on Saturday mornings and tuning in for those kids who may be listening. I don't know if they're kids listening, but I mean, yeah, the Saturday morning cartoons.
Who knows, man? I don't know. Kids watch the weirdest things on YouTube, so it's I wouldn't put past them. True. Sitting for an hour straight listening to us talk about, movies, pop culture, and other random stuff that we love and hate. Gallen Bros podcast.
That's right. But there were these things called Saturday morning cartoons, and the X-Men was one of the best of the 1990s. Oh yeah. So, but Steve, let's start with you. What kind of comes to mind when you think about the X-Men cartoon from when we were children?
Probably Wolverine stands out to me just because he was the best character in that show. And one of my favorite things is that he, as being a kid's TV show, couldn't swear, but he just had the funniest swear adjacents, right? Yes.
That's a good phrase. Yeah.
Swear adjacent phrases. You egg sucking gutter trash.
All right, you egg sucking piece of gutter trash.
Yeah. You're goose stepping some or other, yeah. Just like goose step.
That is funny.
But the whole idea of it being serialized and being a continuous story was. Is very cool and had, I don't know, ever been done before, right? Really, with cartoons?
I don't know.
For cartoons,
I don't know.
That's a good question.
I don't know about I don't know I'm not a Saturday morning cartoon historian, but
well, you were.
Believe it or not.
Let's
some rumors
hurry up and wrap this
around,
up, guys.
But I think I totally agree with you about the serialized storytelling, particularly with the cartoon. I don't know if it had been done before, or if it had, it'd probably been very, very limited, or some show I'd never heard of. But yeah, that was one of my favorite things too, was just having to like tune in every week and like to be continued. And you're like, oh man, I got to wait a whole whole another week for to see this next episode.
The story actually ends, yeah, or continues rather.
Yeah, and how just the idea of the continuity, and I wonder, I as I've gotten I don't know, as I've gotten older, but I mean, I shows now particularly tend to have very strong continuity, or at least they try to.
It's less forgiving nowadays, I think, with the internet.
For sure.
Like it's a lot easier for us to notice it, to pick up on it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Go be like, wait a minute, in your first season, episode 3, you said this, but you contradicted that, and
especially when you binge watch it too. You're just like, oh, I've never seen it. Well, dude, it's 4 seasons. You should get caught up. And then you watch 4 seasons straight, and you're like, wait a minute. In season 2, he said this, but then in season 3, he neglects it, and you're just like, yeah, man, tisk tisk. You got to account for that.
That's right. So I think that, I agree with you as far as with the X-Men. I think was certainly they tried to do that, and I don't know if that had been done before with particularly with a children's show, with a cartoon. I know the Batman animated series had some of that, but I don't think the beyond the continuity of like there are a couple like 2 or 3 part episodes in that show. I don't know if the continuity was as forefront,
and it may not have needed to, though, too. I mean, because like think about the Batman story in general too. It's like the Joker is put away in Gotham and breaks free of Gotham how many times? You know what I mean? So, or Arkham, excuse me. Yeah. Sorry, sorry, my bad. Yeah, they are in Gotham, Arkham Asylum. Yeah. No, but yeah, so that one I feel like the cartoon aspect of that, and even the comic book kind of rinse and repeat type of scenario works just fine, so I think in a sense it's a little different. You're right. It wasn't that each episode, he's I don't know, let's just say trying to find his parents, for instance. We know that's not the case. His parents are dead. But, for instance, and that like each episode even though there's like the A story, the B plot at the end is him getting a new piece of information about where they've gone or whatever. It didn't need any of that stuff. Nor do I think you're right. I don't think it followed any of those lines.
Right. Whereas with the X-Men, I remember distinctly, like I think in season 2, there's the through storyline of Mr. Sinister, kind of lurking in the background, and
so awesome.
I think Magneto and Professor X, then they get like lured to Antarctica, and then they get into that, and so like every episode there's that, like you said, there's that A story where the X-Men are back in, where is it? Like in New York, I guess, right? And
I know, yeah.
Right. Like every Marvel character is just set up shop in New York City, and they're doing whatever their story of the week or adventure of the week, and then you get the overarching story. So I think with cartoons that really was revolutionary or whatever.
Yeah,
and that was like I think one of the things that particularly for me drew me. I really liked.
Mm-hmm. Well, and apparently, I guess Fox didn't think that would fly with kids. That the whole following along with. I know it's like shows what you know.
Everybody thinks kids are stupider than they are.
Like, I know. Seriously, what a like broken record of scenarios too. It's like, well, we had no idea this would do well. It's like, how did you not have any idea? The writing was good, the acting was good, the animation was good. It was a good idea. Like, like what didn't you expect to be good here? Yeah.
Well, and just the idea. I've heard that before too with kids shows. They're like, they always try to. They think kids are dumber than they are, and they try, well, dumb it down. You're like, no, actually, raise the bar up. People want their kids, have them give something to aspire to, And I mean, I remember that too. Like it stood out, that one, and and watching Batman, and then later on when they introduced Spider-Man, which was this, in the same universe as the X-Men cartoon, and they had what were they? We were talking about this before we started recording, right? Where like Spider-Man seasons were. Like 3 stories, but they had 20 episodes, and it's like every episode was like a 5-part story
to be continued. Every episode ended with to be continued. Every single one of them. I don't think there's a single episode that didn't.
Yeah. What about you, Zach? I know.
No, you're good. Yeah,
I heard of a little bit, but as far as like initial memories of things that you enjoyed or that really have stuck with you through the years?
I know, as we had kind of talked about this a little, or when you originally sent the article, Tim. Yeah, obviously the first thing that popped in my head, I was like, yeah, I remember having the VHS and watching the pilot episode. So parts 1 and 2 that were together there.
Oh right, we had that's right.
Yeah, and I just remember, it's just so abundantly clear. Like I remember the opening sequence was kind of that, like at the time, the 3D animation of the characters like circling around and like the stats coming up, and then they shift to another one during the credits. I don't know if you guys remember that or not.
Oh yeah, that was during the credits. That's right.
So but no, with the show, I love the show. My preference was Spider-Man. I think I watched that one more committedly, but that's probably the only reason I preferred that one, was I think I was able to keep up with it. Whereas this show, man, it was like, I felt like they would have a new episode. I'm like, oh yeah, I haven't seen a new episode. And then you watch it and I'm like, what happened before this? Like, I felt like I was like, did I miss the first season or so? I was like, because I feel like this is not what I remember happening last time. So I was like, wow. It just, they really went everywhere. It genuinely felt like this was probably like a comic, like the comic fandom's dream come true. And maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Maybe they're just like, no, they ruined it. But to me, it felt very much like what I assume a faithful adaptation would have been. I never read the comics, but the way the stories played out and stuff of comics I did read, it felt very. I was like, well, this seems very much like a comic on screen, and not in a I don't know, weird or like truncated or poorly adapted way.
But no, I think you're right as far as with it being fairly faithful to the source material. And I think just too, like the X-Men, I didn't read the comics when I was a kid. I was very much a DC fanboy, as you guys know. And I mean, I think to my detriment, I missed out on a lot of good stuff from Marvel in the 90s. And but yeah, the cartoon of the X-Men, like I had friends who read the comics, and I just never, I just picked up bits here and there and stuff, but never actually read them. But the show really was my first exposure to them, and just really took to it, and loved the characters and the storylines and everything, and and just back to that point about it being really faithful to the source. I think that like the X-Men, there's so much to them.
It's so vast. Yeah, the universe is so
vast. Well, there's every mutant has a different ability and a story, and they're all connected because they're mutants. But and then of course it's connected to the wider Marvel universe, and so it's just like, oh my gosh, and I kind of think sometimes of if Marvel Disney still if they actually had the film rights
for X-Men
to the X-Men, that how the detail and continuity and everything of the cartoon, I think is how they, it'd be very close to how it would be in the movies if they
played it as a movie series. Yeah.
Because I'm like, nobody knows their characters better than Marvel Comics, and I mean they are able to fit everything and piece it all together, and it's still comic books, and so there's still some suspension of disbelief.
Definitely, it's a comic, but they are mutants. These things don't.
But they're able to fit it all in together and make it flow and have fun and all that stuff. Plus, I'm just like, oh my gosh, it would just been. I've thought this ever since the MCU started to get going. Is like, oh, can't you just take the film rights back from Fox?
Yes, yeah,
yeah. But with the cartoon, it's just. Oh, yeah, it's a lot of fun. I mean, like I said, I've watched some of it recently. It's streaming on Hulu, and then of course, they're around on DVD.
And I think all the Marvel cartoons are on Hulu as well, because I know Spider-Man for sure is on Hulu as well right now.
Spider-Man on there too? Mm-hmm. Nice.
Yeah, good watch too, man. Yeah, they're fun to watch.
Well, yeah, let's kind of shift gears here a little bit and talk a little maybe some of our favorite stories or favorite episodes that we can remember. I don't know how long ago it was. But I know that even 20 some years later, I'm like, some certainly still stick out in my mind. So Zach, what about you?
Yeah, no, I definitely have some favorites in there. The pilot was good. I'm trying to think. I think my favorite kind of episode arc would have definitely been I liked Mr. Sinister's plot line. It because I remember also too they brought back at that point Morph, the X-Men character Morph, who I think was kidnapped in the first or second episode.
No, he was
assumed dead. Yeah, because the Sentinel. Thank you. Yeah, killed him or seemingly killed him. You know. So yeah, I always thought that was like you're like, oh wow, cool. You know, and you bring back the continuity like that. That was a really unique experience, especially being a kid that didn't watch like the X-Files, for instance, or didn't watch a serialized live action TV show. You know. So getting that same experience or that same like, oh wow, you know, this character came back, or oh wow, this was just it was just they were duping everybody, you know. So that I just remember that was really cool. And Mr. Sinister was just kind of a really fun villain too. And then they had that really great kind of open-ended final scene of season 2. I think it was the end of season 2, the reunion episode part 2, where they seemingly kill Mr. Sinister, destroy Mr. Sinister, whatever terminology you want to use. And then he just like his face kind of shows up in the beach when the water sloshes ashore, and that's how the season ends. And I just remember that being like, oh, he's going to come back. You know, it's just kind of a fun experience. Like I actively very much remember those episodes. So those were fun. As well as, the casual episode here and there. But yeah, those were probably the standouts.
Steve, what about you? What comes to mind when you think about some of your favorite stories or favorite episodes?
It's been a little while since I watched it, but I remember the Days of Future Past 2-part one was definitely one that stood out to me. Old Man Logan. Yeah, just a fun storyline. And then because I don't think I remembered watching it as a kid, but then after Days of Future Past, the live action one came out, and then rewatching the cartoon, I was like, oh man, the cartoon's the live action's really, really good, but the cartoon's like amazing, you know, also. But
and I think too, from what I remember, you know, I've never actually read the original comic story, but I think the cartoon is a little more faithful to that. You know, anyone out there, feel free to correct me on that. But I think in the comic, Kitty Pryde is the one who
she does.
Back. Yep. And then it's left ambiguous as to whether her actions changed the future or not, and which I think was a little. They played up that a little bit in the show. I remember like Bishop comes back and the future has changed a little bit, but it's not quite. And he's like, oh, it must have been something else. And then they kind of, you know, and then it's like, it gets, and then that kind of is like that strand is maybe picked up, I don't know, several episodes later, or maybe another season later or something like that. I'm not completely clear on that, but, or remember that clearly, but I do know that for sure, that I remember it was still, there was some ambiguity to it, which was kind of fun too. Just to like, oh man, like what's you know, that not every story just gets resolved. I like that. Yeah, and two, of course, the big, for me, the big standout multi-part story is the Phoenix saga,
Dark Phoenix,
and then of course the subsequent Dark Phoenix saga, which, you know, so far the Fox Studios hasn't been able to adequately execute on screen, but we'll see next year if they're able to pull it off. You know,
that's right.
That's the next X-Men movie, right? Dark Phoenix comes out next year, and they just I think they just finished filming, so into post production.
Cool. Hopefully it's good.
I mean, I guess anything should be better than X-Men Apocalypse, right?
Yeah. Except for X-Men 3.
Well, anything could be better than X-Men 3.
Except for Wolverine Origins.
Well, anything could be better than
there we go. All right, we got it. We finally got it. That is funny. That's funny. I was just thinking, I was like, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, I was like, yeah, Apocalypse was bad. But you know it was worse? Yeah. X-Men 3 was bad. Last Stand was Stand.
X-Men movie that came before that. And then the X-Men movie that came before that. You're like,
Man.
Too funny. Speaking of Apocalypse, that was he's one of the characters I remember too distinctly on the cartoon, and just that was such a cool. I don't know who did the voice, but or how they did the voice, but it's just so distinctive. I can't think of I can hear it in my head. I can't.
We'll throw in a clip. We'll throw in a clip.
There you go.
We'll find a clip and throw in a clip.
Do you not realize I am immortal?
But yeah, the Apocalypse, and he came several. There were different episodes that he was a part of.
Yeah,
I guess that was kind of a fun thing too about the cartoon is that they had the core group that was arguably the quote unquote main characters. With Cyclops and Jean Grey and Storm and Wolverine and Jubilee and Rogue and Gambit.
Yeah,
and Beast. I think that's the main. That's the main.
Sounds about right.
It's like and Professor X, of course. But they had they had other stories through the run of the show of bringing in some of the other favorite mutants and X-Men that from the comics and everything. So they had, like we mentioned, Bishop, being sent back in time, and Cable showed up a lot, also being sent back in time, and Apocalypse, of course, Magneto was the main villain.
Well,
but,
and didn't they also have an episode with, because it wasn't one of the plot lines that Nick Fury might have been Cyclops' dad? I feel like I know there was a Cyclops.
Nick
Fury, I feel like there was a Cyclops' Scott's father. There was a Scott's father character, and I feel like it was Nick Fury. Maybe I'm remembering wrong. Maybe the guy had the same type of look. Like how it is. X-Men's made up of 8 different mutants, and then 18,000 different iterations of each individual mutant type. But yeah, I could have sworn there was an episode where they had a character that was allegedly his dad. Because they I remember they ended up on a space shuttle or whatever, and then
it wasn't Nick Fury. He was some guy from space.
Okay.
I remember who you're talking about. I don't remember the character's name, but it wasn't Nick Fury.
But I'm not wrong in thinking that he looked kind of like a Nick Fury character.
No,
okay.
Right.
Again, I'm reflecting on it. I was like, I didn't watch this recently, so yeah. So obviously, I'm just going off my memory. Yeah.
Right. No, you're right. Yeah. It was probably some one of those hokey comic book names like Star. Whatever,
it was Starbuster.
Yeah, that's gotta be it then. Yeah, old Starbuster. Yeah, you guys didn't see that coming, did you? You didn't know Starbuster was gonna be Cyclops' dad. Starbuster and Cyclops, and then what was side by side? Finally,
and then his brother wasn't Havoc? I think.
Oh,
I don't know. I'm not very good at my X-Men knowledge.
Yeah.
We'd have to call Justin, our cousin. He knows all about the X-Men.
Yeah. So pretty much you can say whatever you want, Tim, and Steve and I will probably agree with you.
Yes.
Starbuster. Yeah.
Starbuster.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah.
My favorite.
Starbuster, also named Mr. Summers.
Father Summers.
All right. Yeah, they even had an episode too where they with the Red Skull and Captain America.
That's right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, they had a really cool World War II episode where Wolverine's talking about he's at I think there's a wraparound story where he's at a cemetery,
army cemetery in France.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, because he's reflecting on a mission. Oh, cool.
Yeah. He was with Captain America and the Red Skull. That's right.
Season 5 there
again.
Yeah.
It's funny too. I think I remember reading, I think maybe on IMDb or just something, just movie trivia, that when they were filming the first Captain America movie, Marvel tried to negotiate with Fox to get Wolverine and Magneto rights to have them appear in Captain America, and it just didn't work out. But I'm like, oh, dude, at least they tried. But still, that would have been so
great
awesome
to have Michael Fassbender in there, and then Hugh Jackman, dude. That'd been so awesome.
It wouldn't have been Fassbender. It would have been. He was a kid during the Holocaust. Remember?
Oh yeah, you're right. Well, then wait, what do they need him in Captain America for then?
That he would have been liberated.
Oh, just as a kid. As a kid. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Right.
And maybe have a little nod to his powers or something. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm just and that's where I'm that's the Marvel touch that's so awesome. And I'm oh, why can't they have why can't they have the rights to the X-Men? It would just be so much more amazing to have. As if Infinity War isn't already going to have enough characters in it.
Characters in it, yeah.
All right, well, guys, I think it's time for our final thoughts. We'll just go around real quick and share just final thoughts on the X-Men animated series. So, Steve?
My final thoughts.
What are your final thoughts? Or a final thought?
I need to rewatch.
Singular.
I need to rewatch this series.
Dude.
I gotta
see where Starbuster comes into play.
Yeah. No, right? I know. I find which episode that was.
Yeah. No, but just talking about it, it just gets you. Because, it was only a couple of years ago that I, binged it when it kind of first came onto Netflix or whatever it was. But I don't think I got through I know it kind of tapered off in the final seasons sort of thing.
Sure. As does most shows, cartoons or otherwise.
Sure. Well, I think with this one in particular, the Hollywood Reporter had a great article. Oh, yeah, I sent it to you guys about
tell the audience.
Yes, audience listeners out there. There's a great article about the 25th anniversary of X-Men animated series, kind of a behind the scenes history. They talked to a bunch of the actors who did the voices, and they talked to the producers and other people involved, and talked about, to your point, Steve, about it, that quality kind of tapering off. And they talk about how the last season, I think it was the fifth season, where they changed animation studios, and so it had been produced in China or Korea, I believe, for the first several years, and then they switched. They found a studio in the Philippines, maybe. I think the Philippines, obviously somewhere else in Asia, but not the big two, not China or Japan.
Smaller portion of that huge continent, yeah.
Right, and so that's why there's the weird shift in animation. But like this guy, the producer, Haim Saban, who is probably more well known for bringing the Power Rangers, for setting the Power Rangers upon the earth.
Power Rangers! What do you want for your birthday? Power Rangers!
Sorry. Hey, remember the 90s? He was approached by Fox Kids to do the X-Men show, and he's a pretty savvy, interesting individual. And the way he did his business was he'd basically get these contracts, but then he would pretty much outsource everything, so he doesn't have, so his overhead keeps his overhead fairly low. And so he that's, I guess, according to the article, he got the idea to cast Canadian voice actors to save on royalties, and then to animate it overseas to save on royalties.
I was just gonna say, labor laws,
right, and so just really fascinating stuff that you don't think about when you're just watching the final product.
Oh, dude,
especially as a kid.
You aren't thinking like, I wonder what the economy was to get this onto screen.
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
I didn't know that Saban produced the X-Men. I guess I didn't realize that.
You would if you watched it again. I think they have the.
I'm sure he's got his
Saban
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I wasn't actively thinking about it either, Steve. And then when you mentioned it, Tim, I was like, oh yeah, that is at the credits. That is at one of the credits logos there.
Enough about Haim Saban, but Zach, what's your final thought?
Steven's thought was exactly it. As I'm scrolling through these episodes and we're talking about it, I was like, I gotta watch this right now. I was like, man, I'm missing out, dude. Yeah, because I've watched Spider-Man recently, didn't finish it, but I was like, I sat through and just clipping through those, and I was just like, man, I missed these. These are great. Even, which is so funny, because even as corny as some of the early '90s kind of dialogue is, it's still very fun. And I can only guess that X-Men is the exact same way. That you'll giggle, yeah. No, you'll giggle at how. Like you'll laugh at the show at a few lines, but you'll appreciate it and just kind of, really just have fun. So, but yeah, I got to sit down and watch it, man. That's final thought. I got to watch this.
See ya.
Yeah. I'm out of here.
To that point too, my final thought is the 90s were a lot of fun. It was fun to grow up in the 90s. So,
Sure.
All right. Well, listener. They sure were.
Sure were.
All right. Well, you listeners out there, what about you? If you've watched the X-Men cartoon, X-Men the animated series recently, or if you have fond memories of it growing up in the 90s, just like us, feel free to leave us a comment in the comment section on YouTube. Share some of your favorite stories or episodes or characters or whatever. But when we come back, we will...
Gallen 3, Tim. Gallen 3.
To the Gallen 3. Dun, dun, dun. Stay tuned. We'll be back. Oh, yeah. We're back.
Hello.
You're listening to the Gallen...
What? I was just watching
You're listening to the Gallen Brothers podcast. What was that?
I just finished. I just finished all 5 seasons.
X-Men, man. Woo.
Mind
It
blown.
was a hell of a show. Hell of a show. Yeah, you're listening to the
Hell of a show.
podcast.
Well,
Pretty big shoe.
And that's our show, everybody. Yeah, so
We just finished talking about the X-Men animated series from the 90s. The greatest version of the X-Men beyond the comic books. Sorry, movies. You just can't cut it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it's that time of the show.
What time, Tim?
What time indeed? What time, Steve? Do you know what time it is?
have a feeling.
Dun dun dun. It is that time. Time
For the Gallen 3.
We added lyrics to that. That's good.
Yeah, it's quirks. I'm gonna
Nice.
do it.
That was good. That was good. That was awesome. Well done. Yes, it's our. I don't know if it's our favorite part of the show, but it's a fun part of the show. But it's a part of the show. The Gallen 3, where we share kind of our 3 either favorite or 3 top things, loosely sometimes related to the topic at hand. And this week we are gonna go around and share, if we could have mutant powers, what would 3 mutant powers be that we could have? So I guess, not to really split hairs, I don't know if there's really a difference between mutant powers and superpowers, but other than the fact that the mutant power comes from your mutant genes as opposed to,
Falling into
I don't know, some radioactive, falling into radioactive waste.
Exterior effect.
Or getting injected with a super soldier serum,
Yeah.
So yeah, 3 mutant powers. And what would they be?
Why don't you start us off, Tim?
All right. If I could have 3 mutant powers, the first, well, again, in no particular order.
We'll say that at least 2 or 3 more weeks.
Every time, disclaimer, no particular order for the Gallen.
Caveat, ladies and gentlemen.
Mutant powers. Right off the bat, I got to say, just the power of flight. It would just be nice to fly. Instead of, I like walking, but I hate driving. I hate flying in an airplane. But if I could fly myself and have complete control, and then I think another one would be the ability to read minds.
Yeah.
I know that Mel Gibson movies have shown us that that's maybe not always the best thing, what women want, but I think it would be kind of, it would be interesting, and then it would just allow, I'd probably be able to kind of get whatever I wanted,
You saved a life in that movie, though.
They did.
He saved, oh God, who's the actress? Trying to blank.
Was it Helen?
No. Banged Helen Hunt. He saved. he saved.
Judy.
Oh, jeez, man, she's Kitty in Arrested Development. She's in a bajillion things. She voices a couple characters in Archer.
Judy Greer.
Thank you, Judy Greer. Yes. Yeah, Judy Greer's one of those actresses that you've seen before, and you don't realize how much work she's done. And she actually is very good in everything she does. She's a good actress. Sorry, that was a way offshoot. I apologize. Yeah, okay, all right. Sorry, Tim. Right. Reading minds and flying, and
that gave me time to think, but I couldn't think really of another one
because what I had to say was so compelling.
That's right. I was so engaged with that aside there, that digression. So flight, reading minds, and then actually the ability to heal, like Wolverine.
Man,
without the anger issues.
I think he's angry just because he's been around so long.
Well, true.
I mean, if I lived through a couple wars and fought in a couple wars,
I'd be
like and not like kind of same time frame type of thing.
Right, and was experimented upon in the Canadian wilderness.
Seriously, the cold Canadian wilderness,
and was from Canada.
He's got nothing to be grumpy about.
That's true. That's a good point.
Universal healthcare, Wolverine. Come on, Logan. It's not like you paid for any of those experiments.
Well, and hey, he heals, so he's got his own universal healthcare, right? I got your universal healthcare right here.
Oh man, that's funny.
Yeah, very topical.
How much? Yeah.
All right, Steve. What about you? What are 3 mutant?
Yeah. Well, my first one was Wolverine's healing ability. That would be that would come in handy for sure. And then I've always wondered about invisibility.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sure.
You can sneak into girls' locker rooms and stuff, but
yeah. every 1980s, rom-com.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Rom-com.
There you go. Yeah, sophomore
rom-com. Yeah. No, but I think I'll actually go with teleporting.
Yeah, God. I was like, Tim, you can fly all you want, man. I'm gonna
teleport. Yeah.
Can I take mine back? That's a good one.
You're stuck with it. Yeah.
Your Gallen 3 is set in stone. Yeah. Yeah. So teleporting, and then healing, teleporting, and then mostly because my wife always mentions it when we're stuck in traffic, but Magneto powers. So just to like flick cars out of the way and
knock all the cars out of the way.
I know who doesn't think about that scene in The Last Stand, which is the only scene to really like think about from that movie. But like where that truck comes and he just like flicks it over his head. Oh,
yep.
Man, Steven, I always picture that too. And driving, I'm like, man, I'd love to just like just like part the cars. Like part.
Can you do that again? What was that sound?
Just parting the freeway parking lot C.
Yeah.
Jeez, that'd be so awesome. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Nice. Those are good. Those are
all good ones. Yeah.
Very good. Zach.
Yeah.
On to you.
I thought it'd been funny if you're just like, my favorite mutant power is the Wolverine power. And like you just like list mutants, you're just like the Hank McCoy power. Like what?
Except being blue.
Yeah. I'd like to be a beast and look blue. That's I don't know why. Yeah. No. I honestly, dude, like the healing thing sounds great. Although, spoiler alert, he still died of cancer in Logan.
Oh, what? Whoa! I haven't seen that, dude. I know you did say spoiler alert, but still. You
don't know what the spoiler's gonna be? Yeah. I think he has cancer in that, if I remember correctly. I saw the movie twice. It's really good, but like, talk about, dude, that movie kind of reminded me of the cartoon in the sense that having seen all the movies up to that movie and then that movie, I'm like, what happened? I was like, did I miss something? It's really like, it kind of is its own thing, but... Yeah, it is a good movie, but yeah, I think he has cancer in the thing. But that's they tell you they tell you early on, like that's not an issue, like that's not a spoiler or anything.
You just said it was.
No. Well, I guess so. Whatever.
Can't heal cancer, I guess.
Yeah. So.
His healing ability can't heal cancer. Then what kind of healing ability?
I know, seriously, yeah.
Well, and two,
Paper
I've
cut,
always
paper
wondered.
cut. Not anymore. Wow, Wolverine, you got the greatest powers.
I mean, how old is Wolverine really? He's like over 150 years old. He was born before the Civil War.
Yeah.
The American
And wasn't his
Civil
name Hank, technically? Just kidding.
You know, it was Jimmy.
Jimmy.
James. Remember? Come on, remember?
I said shiny the other day, and Sarah was like, "What'd you say?" I was like, "No, don't worry about it." I was like, "I don't have time to explain it, nor is it gonna like make sense." I was like, "Don't worry about it. It's okay." Oh man.
Yep. The best thing about Wolverine Origins.
Let's get back to Zach.
Mind,
It
there
was,
wasn't
it was that moment
Donovan,
it ended.
Ray
Yeah,
Donovan.
you got to move on. No, yeah, so no, the healing powers, I think for sure. Like that sounds great. Plus, Wolverine has the amplified senses as well too. Remember, he can like sniff things out like a dog.
He's got a spider sense,
Sniff things out like a dog.
Yeah.
like a Wolverine.
Yeah, and then
He's awesome.
definitely teleporting, man. Teleporting would be like the best gift ever. Oh man, especially.
All right, I get it, guys.
I'm saying,
it.
especially as like a superpower too, just because it'd be like flawless, like in that sense where it's not someone's like, well, technically teleporting can't be possible. It's like no, I'm talking about a superpower here, right? So not a teleporting device, but superpower, man.
You yourself can teleport.
Yeah, that'd be exactly that. I need a device or a machine or Scotty to make it happen.
You have the ability to dismantle all your molecules,
Right.
which is somehow transfer them through space and then reconnect them all in the same way to recreate yourself.
Yeah,
Yes,
that'd be amazing. That'd be amazing.
that's like a mind fuck right there.
Yeah. In the 80s, they did a physicist wrote a book on the science of Star Trek, and actually on that point, the teleportation. He's like it's impossible. Like he said, the amount of like energy you would need to move
like
one
10
molecule
nuclear bombs or
was
something, right?
all the energy in the world to move like one molecule. He's like, and you're made up of trillions. Like it's not happening. He's like, it's not happening.
Wow.
Don't worry about it. Don't think about it. Don't interpret it. Like don't expect it to happen.
Well, you know what, too? Like that's kind of like fuck you,
I know.
physicist.
Why you got to shut down everybody's?
Why do physicists know anyway?
Come on. Not with that attitude, it's not happening.
Yeah, well, with these constraints and with laws and rules.
Hey, laws have been broken before.
Yeah,
Come
yeah.
on.
Earth used to be flat.
Take your laws of physics and shove them somewhere
Yeah, that physics doesn't exist. Yeah, I said it.
in another dimension.
whoa.
That's right.
He's like, well, technically that wouldn't be possible because exactly. No, so yeah, all right, yeah, teleportation would be amazing. Yeah, healing would be perfect. I mean, just that. And then honestly, I'm gonna make up this third superpower, but this is the superpower that I want, is the superpower to not produce waste. And I don't mean like trash. I mean to never have to go to the bathroom ever again. You know how amazing that'd be to not be like playing a video game, be like, I gotta pee, or oh man, I gotta take a poo, and then just having to stop what you're doing. Like someone's like, hey man, I gotta go to the bathroom. You're like, sucker, And I'm like, I'll see you later. I'm like, pew, like I teleport, and then I teleport, to France to get a French treat, and then I come back by the time before they're done peeing. I'm like, man, yeah. Look at that! I was just in France.
I've been to France and had a French treat. All you're still
You're taking a poo.
I was gonna say baguette, but I was like, what a stupid thing to like teleport to. Yeah, I'll go to the grocery store real quick. Boo doo. Yeah, here you go, man. Yeah, but then again, wasn't that a joke in? Yes, it was in Lois and Clark. They had that joke too, where she's like, "Oh, this is really good Chinese food. Where's it from?" He's like, just China, or just like down the block, and he actually like flew to China to get the Chinese food.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny because I've heard Chinese food in China is not the same as Chinese food in America.
You know what their preferred Chinese food is in America? Panda Express. They've asked them. They said Panda Express. It's like Chinese people or people who are used to Chinese food in America prefer Panda Express.
Are you sponsored by Panda Express? Exactly.
We should totally get that.
I know, man. Dude.
Hey, Panda Express. Let's celebrating another anniversary here. It's Panda Express.
Yeah, the 30th anniversary of the orange chicken.
So if Panda Express is listening, you can throw some money. Just give us some orange chicken.
It was last week, right? Just like
I think so.
I don't know if it was the same day, but no, I remember I went reading that and I was like, man, I really want orange chicken,
right?
and I went and had it for dinner that night. True story.
Good for you, Tim. Good for you, Tim. Did you fly there using your?
True story. I could have teleported there, but no, I had to fly
instead. Yeah.
And I could read the server's mind, and I said, no, I want the rice, not the noodles.
Yeah. Oh, chow mein. No, I didn't say chow mein. I said steamed rice.
Yeah, right.
I didn't say chow mein. Steamed rice. Steamed white rice.
Come on now. That's right.
Man.
No. Give me the fried rice or whatever it is. I don't know. Whatever.
I get the orange chicken. You're like, no. I'll wait for the next batch of orange chicken. I know that orange chicken's been out here for 3 hours.
Man, you know what, guys? There was they have their seasonal thing. If we're sticking with
Panda Express.
We're going there.
Sidebar.
Okay, so
Panda Express.
This is our third segment here. Panda Express.
Panda Express sidebar. Okay, so they have the seasonal.
You didn't even correct that too. Anywho, they have what?
Anyway, so they have the seasonal dish, right? And it's right now it's pork. But over the summer, I think it was some chicken. It was like I don't remember what it was called, but it was some chicken dish. And Dad was all, oh man, he's like, have you tried this chicken? It's so good. And we had it one, and I was like, yeah, it's pretty good. And he's like, you know what? I think I like this better than orange chicken.
Oh yeah,
and
you told me that too. Yeah, I tried it. It was good. It's not better than orange chicken though.
Is it like the
nothing's better than
chicken?
The orange chicken. Sorry, that was really
I think
a lot of
the honey sesame. It was the honey sesame. That's what it was. I think it was the honey sesame.
Oh yeah, the honey sesame.
Yeah, which was good. I usually sampled that whenever they have the new stuff. I'll sample it, and I'm like, wow, that's good.
Wow,
double orange chicken, please.
You know what? That's really good, but.
I know. I always feel like it's so funny because they'll do that too. They're like, "Oh, do you want to try the sample?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." I was like, "Man, that's really good." They're like, "Yeah, I know." I'm like, "All right, cool." Hey, steamed white rice and double orange chicken.
No.
Oh God, no! I'm not going to order
like
that.
A lot of restaurants.
Yeah. Are you kidding?
You just gave it to me for free. Now give me what I really want. The orange chicken.
Man.
Oh man!
It's just like when they had the orange chicken and bacon too. Man, that was actually pretty good. Also,
no, it wasn't.
Oh, you didn't like it?
No, it was a bad experiment.
Oh, that, yeah. Well, I liked it. I thought it was pretty good, but I think I only ordered it once.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I'm not paying an extra 50 cents for bacon bits that I don't want. I was like, nah, it's like
in there.
Yeah, right. I'm going home. I'm gonna chop my own bacon. Yeah.
Well, bacon bits. I'll do it at home. All right, Zach, have you did them?
Yes, yeah. It was the knock on potty. Yeah,
it was.
Man, I've been the best baby in the world. Could you imagine having me for a baby with that superpower? They're like, man, we saved literally $80,000 on diapers.
Here's my dilemma with that one. Where would your waste go?
I think your body is just able to dissolve anything that you take in 100%. Like it's fully efficient. Or I don't even need to eat. Also, like that'd be okay too. I like for the satisfaction of eating or drinking, I would get rid of that if it meant I never had to go to the bathroom and I could still live. Like that'd be fine.
You know what? I sometimes think about that. Like when you get really hungry, I'm like, and I just can't decide because everything either sounds so good or nothing sounds good. And I'm just like, wouldn't it be nice if I could just take a pill and be like, okay, I got all my nutrients and I'm full.
Yeah.
But I mean, and don't get me wrong, I love food.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I agree. That's our bonus power right there. Not having to eat.
Yeah, right. I'm telling you, man, that'd be something else.
All right. And while you contemplate that, we're pretty much done for the day.
I think so too. That's
You've been listening to the Gallen Brothers podcast. You can subscribe to us and leave a review on Apple Podcasts. Reviews help other people find our show, so it would be a great favor for us if you would leave a review and tell us what you think.
Please.
Even if it's a 1-star, even if you think that we're just a bunch of morons, really. It's all good. Just leave your honest review. Be very helpful. You can also catch our podcast at soundcloud.com/Gallen Bros podcast, or on our Gallen Brothers Entertainment YouTube channel. And be sure to subscribe there and watch our short films, including our latest 3 a.m. It's about a man who goes on a trip away, who experiences strange occurrences when the clock strikes 3. Just because Halloween's over doesn't mean you can't. Yes, just because Halloween's over doesn't mean you can't watch a good, scary horror short. You've been listening to the Gallen Brothers podcast. I'm Tim, and with me are my brothers, Zach,
Steve.
and Steve. We will see you guys next time. Take care. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na.
I am Star Crusher Banger, whatever the hell his name is. Crap. AKA Mr. Summers.
Starburst?
I'm your
Starburst.
No.
Starburst. No, it's Starburst the candy.
Starburst is the candy.
Starburst. That's not right, is it?
It was
No.
All right, shut this
it's
thing
not.
down. We're done.
Oh, yeah.